Hey everyone, today we're going to be talking about how to get into the top 5 in Super Mario Bros. 35 consistently. This way you can put yourself in the position to get in first place on a very consistent basis. So without further ado, let's go break down a winning run. Starting this level, you can see that I chose 3-1. When you're choosing a course, you want to choose a course that has some high level enemies on it. So here I chose the level that has the Hammer Bros on it because they're an annoying enemy that can hit you from far away. And if you don't have a fire flower equipped, and you don't know that they're coming at you in a level that you haven't been to yet, or if someone defeats them and sends them to you, they're a pretty annoying enemy to deal with. Same with Lakitus and Spinies. So that's what I intentionally choose, a level that's a bit higher up that I have memorized so that I can deal with some of the loops that come in. So my strategy for the beginning of every game is, whether it's 1-1 or 1-2, it's to rack up as much time as possible. The first two levels is all about time, and then the second level is all about racking up coins. And so in this, I'm prioritizing time. But if you go this way, you can get that secret mushroom that I just got right there, instead of going down the pipes and skipping almost the entire level and just grabbing 20 coins, and then you're on to the next one. With this one, you'll see that by the end of this level, by chaining jumps on top of Goombas and by only using the fire flower when necessary, like if I'm in a pinch, using that method, I am able to rack up over a minute extra of time, and I'm only about halfway through the level already, and I'm about 100 seconds. The other thing I did there was that I hit the question block first so that the fire flower comes out. In case I mess up, then I can still go back like I just got hit right now, and if I had a fire flower already popped out of a question block, I can go back and just get that power up. See, so if you mess up twice and you get a fire flower, you turn directly into Fire Flower Mario. That's one thing that you have to get used to if you are a fan of the original Super Mario Brothers. It's actually I think a little bit more helpful. Is in this one, you don't go right from Fire Flower Mario getting hit down to Tiny Mario, which is kind of cool. So as you can see here, we're up to 249 seconds, and we're already at round 2, and we have 29 coins. So level 1-2, almost missed my power up there. But level 1-2, I use this level as the one for collecting as many coins as possible, because this one you can get the coins and the secret mushroom and go down the pipes to get an extra 20 coins, and so that is a very helpful level for just grabbing a bunch of coins really quickly. And as always, whenever you can chain jump on top of Goombas, I would say go and do that. Or if you can be strategic about this, instead of just fire flowering everything out of your way and not racking up time, you, by the end of the second level, if you go 1-1 to 1-2, you can max out the amount of time you have before you get to your next level. As you can see here, we're almost at 400 seconds up in the upper right corner. And we're closing in on 100 coins, which is an awesome place to be, especially in the knockout round. I try not to use any coins until we get down to maybe around 5 people left, unless I'm in a pinch. And sometimes you have rounds where the game goes by pretty quick, and before you know it, you have a screen full of like 8 Lakitus, and you're gonna have to use some coins here. So on this first one, I like having the choice of knowing where I'm gonna go, so you sacrifice the extra 15 seconds by getting the flag, but I'm gonna go back here to World 1-2. Personally, I think that there's enough obstacles on the ground in this level to kind of keep each screen kind of somewhat compartmentalized, so that when you get into the later game, if there are Bowsers being thrown at you, you have objects to hide behind. If there are a bunch of Lakitus on the screen, the ones who are at the top of the screen actually throw the Spinies up on top of the bricks that I'm punching right now. So that's actually, I think, a helpful level to come back to. Some people do 1-1, but I think that it can be a little bit overwhelming if you have Lakitu throwing stuff at you from the sky. And so I like to bide my time, and you'll see the 4 people who you can attack up at the top here. Right now, I kind of leave it set to random or most coins. Just because those people towards the end of the game are going to have a lot more resources to be mashing that, pay those extra 20 coins for that question block. So I like to target those people towards the beginning of the game, or rather all game long. And now you'll see on here, some people are in world, it looks like world 3, and some people are in level 4 of world 1 in Bowser's Castle. And so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to target some people who are in harder levels so I can send them enemies. And I intentionally chose world 3 level 2 because there's some more enemies on here than if I were to take some of those other levels. And so I'm going to intentionally target here some people in Bowser's Castle, because that's a little bit of a rough stage. You're in a very confined space, so it can be hard depending on which castle you get sent to. And so I'm just going to take my star here. I normally don't recommend the star. If you noticed in World 1, I passed up the star because you don't chain that easily, but I know the level here and I'm maxing out my time anyway, so I'm just gonna plow through this level so that I can get back to a level that's a little bit easier to manage when enemies get thrown my way, like level 1-1 or level 1-2. So as you can see here, I'm gonna hit this Koopa, get this Fire Flower because that's gonna rack up the time, and now I can go about at a leisurely pace. So if you didn't prioritize racking up your time, getting a lot of time, or getting a lot of coins in the first 2 levels, you might be struggling to try and chain enemies, but the enemies towards the end of the game are going to be a lot harder than what they are at the beginning of the game. So as you can see here, I'm almost up to 100 coins, and I keep hitting my threshold for the amount of time I have, so I can move actually pretty slow. I can take my time. Doesn't matter if I get hit like that. And even though 2 people are targeting me right now, I can still keep going at a somewhat leisurely pace. I try to move fast because I want to send enemies back to people. And if this was a harder round, as you can see, I knocked the star out of there. Again, I'd rather be just chaining up those coins or those jumps and racking up the time, because those racking up the time and stuff like that is just a way to keep the game moving at my terms and at my pace that I'm comfortable playing at. Another thing that I am using right now is an SN30 Pro Plus controller. I personally don't like the, when I'm playing 2D platformers, I don't like the offset D-pad with the buttons, and the SN30 Pro Plus is modeled after by 8BitDo, is modeled after the Super Nintendo controller. Which is one of my favorite controllers for playing 2D platformers. It's compatible with other Switch games as well, and you can pair it with other things like your computer, or if you buy a little adapter, I think you can do it with PS4 and Xbox. So after using that, I found myself to be a little bit more comfortable, and if you're comfortable in a game like this, playing a game like this, and your hands aren't cramping up, it's going to make it a little bit easier to play. But unless you're a big fan of 2D platformers, I wouldn't recommend just going out to buy that controller to be good at this game. But if you find yourself struggling with, other 2D games like Shovel Knight or Hollow Knight on the Switch, and you want that symmetrical controller, go with that. Now, I personally am not a fan of World 3. These are the levels that I try to avoid. I'm not super comfortable with them. My play style is that I always have my thumb holding down the Y button, so I'm always holding down the run button, and then I shift my finger over to do my jumps and hold the B button down so that I can chain. And so it's a little bit, that's just the style that I played Mario. I have worlds 1 through 3 or 4 memorized off the top of my head because I've been playing this game my entire life. But if you're not super familiar with the levels, I wouldn't recommend holding the run button down until you get a little bit more comfortable, or you have some of them memorized, you know where all of the secrets are, like those extra 1-up mushrooms that will give you 20 extra coins. And the other thing to keep in mind as well is if you do have these memorized, the first few games I played of this, and even from time to time I get stuck in a rut. Like I know that this level, I can run through without stopping, because I have it so committed to memory that I can avoid every obstacle, except what you keep forgetting is that people are sending you enemies that should not be there. So there are some times where I'm like, oh, I have this level memorized and I know I can make this jump blind, because there's not going to be spinies in Bowser's castle here, but you know, someone sent me some spinies, so there they are. So we're gonna have to deal with that. I accidentally hit random, but at this point I'm just attacking the people who are attacking me, or the most coins. One of those two is always a good choice. I don't recommend random at the end of the game. I would actually recommend, if you're playing handheld, to actually take a look around and see who's on more difficult levels, like we talked about earlier in this run, and target them. So people in Bowser's Castle, this is hard to deal with because you have limited space. And if you don't have a lot of coins, it's going to be very hard to get a power-up that you want to use. Oh, and it looks like we just KO'd this guy with someone we sent over his way. But you see how towards the end there, I had 100 and something coins at the end. I got down to 70 coins because I was using some of those power-ups. And so if you want to win, that would be my strategy. And using this strategy, even when the levels are a lot harder than the ones that I've been getting today, you're still going to be able to consistently get into the top 5. And if you can get into the top 5 consistently, you're going to get better and better and better and actually start developing a strategy that works for you. Thank you so much for watching today. If you like this video or you found it useful and you've made it here, give it a thumbs up, like, share, or subscribe for more Nintendo-based content.